It's Monday morning. I just finished my live stream on my other channel. I stream there every Monday and Friday, and it's like 9 o'clock. And I have had a really restful weekend. Thank you so much for allowing me to take a bit of a respite. Vlogtober isn't a whole like consecutive thing for me. It turns out it was a lot because the concert on Friday was just so much. So if you haven't been watching, we had our first live performance since the pandemic started. I had my first live performance since the pandemic started on Friday, and we performed 4 Bach cantatas and 2 modern pieces, and it was a lot. We all sang masked, but just what a wonderful time, and it just was nothing was more glorious. I didn't take any pictures. It just is an experience that lives sort of in the ether. There's video of it, and there is a subscription service that's new for the ensemble that I sing with, where you can actually view the concerts, but it's monetized. So if you're interested, I will link it down below. I think it goes live on Friday, because it's being edited right now. But a beautiful concert, and a lovely, lovely, lovely experience with our first music director finalist. We're selecting a new music director by 2022, and we have 4 wonderful candidates, and the first one we've worked with for 6 weeks and did the concert. I was telling my husband, it's like the worst speed dating, I think. Like, I had such a good time working with this person, and I think they're wonderful and warm and knowledgeable and wonderful, and I just want to scoop them up, put them in my pocket, and take them home. But we've got 3 more candidates to get through. So yeah, anyway, was very, very different than the energy and the sort of process from our previous music director. Like, really different. Anyway, while I was taking a break, I asked you guys to ask me some questions, so we're gonna do a quick Q&A. There are 40 comments here. I don't know if I can answer all of these, but I try to be in my comment section as much as possible, but I can't answer everything. I can't answer every comment. It's getting to that point where it's just impossible to keep up, but I do read all of them. I read every single one of them, and so I will do my best here to read all of the comments. I'll go back to the beginning of the comment section. Okay, first question. Controversial, starting out controversial. Is the Black opera community excited about the Black opera going on at the Met right now? Well, like the comment that replied to it said, I can't speak for all of us. I can say that I am happy to see that there is more diversity happening in the classical music world right now, or more attempts at diversity. Since last year's Black Lives Matter kind of event and things that have been going on, there has been, looks like to me, concerted attempts at making diversity a little more important, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. There have been some like weird stuff going on behind the scenes, especially in Boston. People don't talk about it. It's just a thing that happens behind the scenes, and as a person of color, I don't want to think that those things are going on, but I feel some of the effects of it, and I can see that stuff going on, and it's upsetting. There's a move that I can see towards more inclusion and diversity in the classical music world. There are a lot of us, Black and brown musicians, everywhere, and yeah, that's all I can say about that. Happy to see it. How are your parents doing? My parents are doing okay. Yeah, they're doing okay. If you're not familiar, my dad is going through a lot right now, and therefore my mom's going through a lot, and it's It's a challenging time for everyone. I don't have any brothers and sisters, so it's a challenging time for our little family unit. And yeah, that's all I can say. We're doing the best we can. What did we sing at the performance? We sang 4 Bach cantatas, number 50, 130, 149, 19, and a Nista piece called Immortal Bach, and also, oh, 2 pieces by a composer named Roth, and they were Oak and Lost. Very good program, very interesting program. Are you thinking of getting the new iPhone 13? I mean, maybe. I have an iPhone 8 Plus. This is so old. Look at it. Look at it. It's so old that the cover doesn't even have, like, everything like got scraped off except for the bird. So one of these days I will upgrade my iPhone, probably by the end of the year. But I definitely am gonna be buying one of the new MacBooks, because y'all, they put the MagSafe back and they put the ports back in the computer. They put the ports back. They put an HDMI port in there. They put an extra Thunderbolt. They put the SD slot back. Fam, this is the greatest news ever. Because I have to travel in January for business, and I need to take like a PowerPoint not PowerPoint, but like a keynote presentation. And I'm like, I need a new like content creation laptop. And they put the ports back. So like, I don't have to live that dongle life anymore. So I'm definitely buying a new MacBook, 100%. Trying to decide between the 14-inch and the 16-inch right now. It's like, so many things. I mean, the 14-inch for portability, but like the 16-inch for, I don't know. We'll see. What instrument did you consider learning how to play? Did you like it? Did you continue or stop? Why? I started playing piano when I was like 9, and I discontinued piano because I was not good at piano. But it's where I learned to read music. I think we all played recorder in school, let's be honest. And then in college, I actually played violin and cello for a semester, just for funsies. But I didn't continue after that, just because mostly because I didn't have time to dedicate to learning another instrument in like a meaningful way. But I think it would be fun to go back to violin. I really enjoyed playing violin. I was not bad. I'm gonna tell you. I was worse at playing the cello than I was at playing the violin, just because I think it was a little smaller instrument. But like the violin, I was not bad. I could play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star by the end of the semester, and it was very good. It was in tune and everything. So, what's your favorite dog-friendly vacation spot in my neck of the woods? Favorite dog-friendly vacation spot? I mean, we don't really travel that much with Clover, but when we do go to Maine and go to my sister-in-law's farm, and that's pretty fun. That's pretty dog-friendly for the most part, and he has a good time just running around, acting crazy, acting a fool. My favorite place to take him actually though is like cities. Like when we go to Maryland, we drive and we always take Clover and we always stop midway in New Jersey, and at most Marriott hotels, you can take your dog for a fee, of course, and he has so much fun at the hotel. Like he has a blast. Like honestly, he gets in there and he's like, oh, we're in the hotel room. Where are the toys? Where are the toys? So he gets to smell all the new smell. He has a blast. Question, I travel full-time in my RV. I really want to have a few plants. Which ones would hold up in not a lot of sunshine, easy to care for? RV. As long as it's temperature controlled for the most part. I mean, I would definitely consider a snake plant, you know, like one of these little friends, one of these bad boys. They don't need much care. Actually, you can tell I haven't watered this in forever. I should probably stick it in some water. Actually, it doesn't really need it. See, the thing about these is you can overwater these and like root rot them. They don't need a lot of attention at all. If you just look at them, and every now and again, if they look a little sad, like if you feel the leaves and they feel a little smushy, not smushy as in they're rotting, but like maybe they're a little bit dry, then water it. But like, I never ever water these. I would stick to maybe one of these. They'll survive. In low light, they're not gonna love it, but it'll survive. I would love to hear your thoughts and advice on fridge organizing for 2 adults. No juice boxes or snack packs. Jenny, I have 2 or 3 videos on fridge organizing. I will link them down below so that you can watch them. It's not a pretty fridge, it's a fresh fridge. Oh, does Eve help around with cleaning and chores around the house? Not a whole lot. And I think sometimes, I mean, he's good about cleaning up the kitchen, I'm not trying to spill all this man's tea, but like maybe like 70% of the time. But he's not in love with housework, and I accept that as his partner, or at least I try to accept that. He's much better at doing the stuff that I'm not good at, as in all of the dealing with our finances, our investments and stuff. He's great at that. I'm good at like managing the house stuff, and so we just kind of balance each other out and accept that. I do expect him to clean up after himself though. So that's about it. I pretty much am in charge of most of it. Yeah. Oh, the next question was about organization experts in adults who have ADHD or ADD. And the comment in the suggestions is what I was going to suggest is Lisa Kelly Woodruff. She's wonderful, and she's on YouTube as well, so make sure to check her out. It's definitely like its own set of skills. My husband actually is an ADHD person. I'm like spilling all this tea, but he doesn't care. And it's definitely, there's a different method to it. There's people who can hyper focus, right? They're like focused on one thing so much that everything around them disappears, or people have trouble keeping focus on one item and they just kind of jump from thing to thing to thing. So there's a different strategy depending on whether you're hyper focused or have challenges focusing on one task at a time. So check her out. Do you have any tips for moving with a dog? I've moved many times before, but never had a dog in any of those times. I think, you know what, I think honestly, dogs are pretty resilient and they're pretty adaptable, but moving does stress them out, just like moving stresses you out and stresses cats out and plants and all that other stuff. So I definitely would, if your dog is like an anxious dog, I would get someone to watch your dog the day of the move. It's too chaotic, right? And then make sure you have familiar things for your dog to land on when they get there, like a familiar bed, the toys, maybe a couple of your shirts that you've worn, just things that remind them that it's a familiar place, even though all their furniture is still there and all, the items. It's gonna be unsettling for everyone, including the doggy. I think Clover's still adjusting from the move. He's been very good moving. The previous, I think 4 times, I think, like, let's see. Yes, this is his 5th time moving. So he's been pretty adaptable. And it's gonna take them a few weeks to feel their best and most comfortable, but just give them time and make sure there's familiar stuff around. And make it a fun place. Usually, when I came here to do measuring and stuff, I brought treats with me and like fun things to do. So whenever he came here, he was like, oh, this is the fun place. I get to play here. Good times. So if you have access to do that, then that's another fun thing you can do to make the place less scary and more like the fun place. What is your plant watering schedule? Oh, interesting. I don't have a plant watering schedule. So plants, the thing about plants, and there's a bunch of those plant watering apps that, remind you to water your every 10 days or whatever. The thing about plants that I've learned since having plants is that plants are not on a schedule, and that they have a language that they speak, and after a while you will learn that language. Like if I'm guilty of anything, I'm guilty of underwatering plants, because it is so easy to overwater plants. I kind of err on the side of like, don't water it. But plants will give you a signal when they need water. Pothos are very good at that. They just totally like droop like this. They're like, oh, I'm so thirsty. And I think it's okay for some plants to have a little bit of that water stress. Some other plants, like the plants that are a little more needy, like the calatheas, the ferns, I would not advise you to stress them out by not watering them. But plants have a language, and I water them when I feel that they need to be watered. So I do go around and inspect my plants every couple of days and just look at them, make sure they don't have pests, make sure they're doing okay, and to make sure whether or not they're thirsty or not. If you're not sure, you can definitely get a moisture meter. And these are good in the beginning if you're really not sure, and you can stick it in the soil if you don't want to stick your finger in there, because you can't get all the way down to the bottom with your finger, right? Stick the moisture meter in there. It can tell you whether the soil is dry or wet and whether or not you need to water. And now I don't need the moisture meter as much as I did in the past. I can just look at the plant and pretty much figure out whether or not it's thirsty, but or I can remember the last time I gave it water. But plants are not on a schedule. Unfortunately, that was probably not the answer you wanted. But you just have to learn to communicate with your plants. That sounds really earthy crunchy, doesn't it? Like really like woo. Do I ever wear my natural hair in straightened or braids or twists? I haven't done that in the last 20 years, 25 years, because for the first half of my life, I think, well, the first, like, okay, let's say the first like 19, 20 years of my life, I had perms, I wore my hair straight, I had braids at some point, I had like weave in at another point, and I just did so much to my hair. Like I did so much to fit in with this beauty standard that was, I guess, the thing in the 80s and the 90s, right? To have straight hair, long hair, to look less like ethnic, right? And then when I let that go, when I just accepted my hair's natural texture, I just lost all desire to ever go back to anything else, like to ever straighten it. Braids are a different thing, I guess. I would maybe consider it, but like I just don't have the desire anymore. I just kind of enjoy its natural texture, and I enjoy being free from the shackles of chemical straightening and flat irons and curling. I enjoy being free of that. Do you have more gigs coming up? I do. I have some, oh man, I have some things that I really need to address actually today and this week. Like I have music to learn. I have an audition tonight, which is why I'm making this video super early in the morning. And I do have more cantata singers concerts. So yes, I have more gigs coming up. It's scary to be performing again. It feels weird, but feels good. Would like to know how you chose a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. I chose Cavalier King Charles Spaniel because I fell in love when I was like 6 or 7 with the look of the dog from Lady and the Tramp. Now I think Lady and the Tramp is supposed to be a Cocker Spaniel, American Cocker Spaniel. But let's be honest, she looks like a Cav. And when I was little, I was never allowed to have a dog. And I fell in love with a Cocker Spaniel that lived like in the building next door in Germany when we lived in Germany. And I loved like the whole curly-eared Spaniel kind of thing. And then I saw Claire Siobhan, who's a Sims YouTuber I watch, get a very cute Cavalier King Charles Spaniel puppy on her channel named Evie, and I just watched the channel after a while for Evie. I wanted to see Evie, and that's when I decided that, you know, I would like a dog like that. It was a tough decision because those dogs have a lot of health problems. They have all been descended in the United States, at least, or the modern Cavaliers have all been descended from just 6 dogs. So they are quite inbred, and a lot of people are breeding them unethically. So they have mitral valve disease, they have a neurological disease that's genetic. They have the ophthalmol and an eye disease. I can't say the word. That can be genetic. So I would advise, if you're thinking about a Cavalier, to either rescue or be very, very selective about the puppy and the person who is breeding the puppy. Make sure the parents and the grandparents have pretty much clean bills of health, and make sure the breeder, I know that it's not popular to recommend a breeder, but make sure that they are ethical and want to preserve the breed. There are people out there who just want to make money because they're very popular. But the woman who I found who bred Clover was a show person. She wanted to show the litter, and she really cared about the breed, and was, she's had very strong feelings about the health, the continued health of the breed, and she wanted to show Clover's brother, and he ended up not being, I guess, qualified for the show ring, and I think she thought about rehoming him, but then fell in love with him, and she still has him, and it's really sweet. So, and apparently they're just alike in personality, which is also adorable. So I veered far off from that. Anyway, I might have missed something. Do you have tenants above your part of the house? Oh, there's 4 replies underneath it. We don't have any tenants. We have neighbors. So we live in a duplex in a 2-family home. So in New England, this is very popular in New England, but I don't think it's popular in other parts of the country. The detached houses in like parts of Boston and in Massachusetts and New England in general, they're often occupied by 2 or more families. So that the house will be very large, right? But you'll have 2 families or 3 families living in them. There's even ones that are 3 families. They're usually called triple deckers because they have 3 floors on them. But sometimes the units will be side by side, or they'll be stacked on top of one another. So in our house, we have people upstairs. Next door, they're like, I think they have the same, I don't know, but like it's very common in Boston to have 2-family and 3-family homes with 2 families and 3 families living in the same building, but it's a separate unit, but they're sharing, the cost of, snow removal, repairs to the outside of the house. We had to talk to them about the reconstruction of the garden on the side of the house. And it's actually sort of a risky kind of thing, because you're entering this sort of dance with people you don't know, right? But we lucked out, and our neighbors are wonderful people, and we really enjoy living like with them. It's great. It's great. And their unit is very different, actually. It's kind of made up different, and it's really interesting. And they have they're just great people. We're very, very lucky. What do you do to unwind? Laura, what I do to unwind basically is I play video games pretty much to unwind. That's what I do. I play with Clover to unwind. Sometimes I make things. And I like to watch stuff on TV, Lately I've been rewatching Squid Game. I'm obsessed with Squid Game. I'm obsessed. If you haven't watched it and you're on the fence, just watch it. You won't regret it. But I'm obsessed. I'm low-key obsessed. I've been watching all the Squid Game theories on the YouTube channels. I can't get enough. And the reactions. I can't get enough of people's reactions to it. I'm like addicted. It's bad. Question: when I'm trying to sort items into categories, I'm struggling how to not go too micro. Oh, how micro to go. Thoughts? Do you do multiple rounds? I do multiple rounds. If you think, how micro to go, I always start really broad. Like if you open your closet and you're like, shoes, don't get into like the whole thing with like fancy shoes and casual shoes. No, just shoes, right? And then if you need to, like the second time around, go and like separate the fancy shoes from the casual shoes. I would start broad and then micro in. if needed. Otherwise, it can take too long, right? So think writing utensils, not pens and pencils, right? If you need to get that detailed, you can. But if you're just starting out, like if the space is like a mess for you, just start with broad categories and then you can niche down. Have I ever been to a performance at the Met? I have not. I have not. I think I went to the Met auditions one year, and that was like a long time ago, but I haven't actually been to a show at the Met. Never. Watched it on TV plenty of times, never actually been there. What's your best Halloween costume? Seriously, some of my old Halloween costumes would get me canceled if if I said what they were. Actually, I still think my favorite costume was like I was in My Little Pony when I was like 6, and I had that plastic mask, you know, where you can't breathe and the eye holes, they don't match up, you can't see. That's still my favorite. And the plastic, like ultra flammable. Remember that? Remember those? That was still ace. What's your favorite cocktail drink of choice? These days I'm really liking an obituary. It's like gin, lemon, absinthe, chef's kiss. And how's it feel to perform again? Cathartic, very strange, but also good. Very good. Lovely. What are your top 5 must-have organizational tools items? Top 5. Okay. Boxes to put things in. Like, I love those Container Store shoe boxes. Those are my favorite. Drawer organizers, if you can get them in any form you can, because anything to separate things in drawers is going to help you out so much. Oh my gosh. Any kind of shelving. Shelving is going to help so much. Get it off the floor, like whether it's a shoe shelf or like shelves in your closet. Yes, get some shelving. What else? Now, a box is different than a bin, right? I think everybody also needs some bins, because bins don't have tops. You just throw stuff in there, no big deal. And last, I feel like, is a good hanger. I mean, honestly, like if you don't have like good hangers, if you got like if stuff's sliding off or like they're all different shapes and sizes, just get all matching hangers. Get the hanger that works for you, but make sure they're just all the same or similar. Get off my soapbox now. Do you have any delicious zero-proof drinks you enjoy? Outside of caffeinated beverages, water, and store-bought juices, straight up. I don't drink a lot of alcohol these days and I need some more variety. Solely zero-proof. Okay, well, I mean, outside of water? I mean, I pretty much keep my beverage consumption to like water, tea, coffee, and alcohol. So, because I don't drink soda and I don't drink juice, can't recommend anything except for herbal tea. I mean, herbal tea is where it's at. Like, I love a good herbal tea, like a mint tea. Usually I make like, because mint tea is great iced, right? And that has no caffeine. So like iced herbal tea, actually, okay, I changed my answer. Iced herbal tea is the way to go, because like you don't have to have the caffeine, right? But to get some flavor, it's mostly water. There you go. I don't know. All the other stuff is too sweet. It's too sweet. It's too sweet. Juice is too sweet. Soda's too sweet. It's too. I can't do it. Do you have a home chore that you dislike and find yourself avoiding? The dishes. I hate doing the dishes. Not into it. Don't like it. I don't want it. You know why? Because I'm too lazy to put on gloves, the dish gloves, and I don't like to touch the food with the watered down food. Ew. So I think that's why. What advice do you have for someone looking to get into professional organizing? Don't trust your judgment, and don't feel like you have to, don't let your imposter syndrome get the best of you. I'm a musician who studied the flute, but you don't want to hear me sing. I'm curious to who your favorite classical composers are, or excerpts of arias or whatever, and what other musical likes. Okay, my favorite classical composers, in no particular order, that's a lie, because they're gonna be in order, because my favorite composer is J.S. Bach, hands down, most prolific, most life-changing. Like when we did this all Bach program, I sat in my seat and bopped the whole time. I was like this. That was me the entire concert, and me singing was like, I was just dancing the entire time. I love Poulenc. Love Poulenc. Poulenc is one of my favorite things to sing. It's so jazzy. Yeah, like so jazzy. I might sing Poulenc tonight actually. Who else is my favorite? This is somebody local actually, but I mean they're famous, but they live like close. John Harbison, Chef's Kiss, great. He wrote a very famous opera based on The Great Gatsby. I think it won like a Grammy or something, but his stuff is very good, very singable, very nice. I also like Heinrich Schütz. That's not a cuss word. Schütz, very good. One of my favorite composers, and yeah, those are my favorite guys, I guess. Should get some girls in there. What other musical stuff I like? Actually, you know what? Truthfully, my like ring entry music for concerts is not like, I don't listen to classical music on my way to concerts. I mostly listen to like Cubby and like other chip tunes and soundtracks from films and video games and Stevie Wonder and Prince. These are all things that I like. I love Prince and I love Stevie Wonder. Like listening to Superstition on the way to like sing Bach is like the best. Like, it's the best. Well, that's the end of the video. I've been talking for like 37 minutes. This is gonna be a long one, but I have an audition tonight. We're singing Poulenc. We're doing Argento. So I'm gonna stop talking and have breakfast. But I hope you guys are having a great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.